Good morning, YouTube. Thanks for watching Bubba's Fabrication. I'm going to show you today how I clean cold air intake filters. Now, as you can see, this one is a large one, but it is extremely dirty, especially the pre-filter that I've got on here. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually take this pre-filter off. These pre-filters work great, but I do clean them different than I clean the actual filter. So filter is not as dirty or near as dirty as the actual pre-filter itself is. What I start off by doing is actually getting Dawn dish soap for the pre-filter. Actually does a really good job in cleaning it up. So what I'll do is just get the whole thing wet, as you can see here, just like this. Usually I use warm soapy water, as you guys can probably guess, and then just get a little bit of Dawn dish soap on there, and I just lather it together really well. And I go over the whole thing and scrub it with my hands, and just get it really clean. Inside and out, and sometimes I have to do this twice, just depending on the filth level, but you can see just the filth is rolling off of this thing here in the sink. And this time it is still got a lot cleaner, but I'm going to do that one more time. Same thing over again, just a little bit of dish soap and scrub it together again once it's been rinsed the first time. And for those of you that don't have pre-filters, it'd be a great idea to get one. They do a really good job of filtering out especially like sand and fine particles before they hit the actual filter itself. So then go ahead and wash this off again. Get it really clean. And then usually I'll just lay this over something and let it dry. Just like that. So once this dries up, it'll actually look almost like brand new, besides the wear holes and small holes that are in it. We'll go ahead and lay this out here. Next thing you want to do is come over to your filter itself. In this one I use K&N Power Clean. I'm almost out of this stuff, but we'll go through and give you guys the gist of it, if I can get anything out of this bottle. There we go. And this, while the filter's dry, I just squirt it on, and then I'll let it sit for a minute before I actually start to rinse it off with warm water. One thing I always do as just an extra precaution, instead of washing from the outside in, washing particles inside of the filter, I always wash from the inside out, washing anything out the same direction that it got stuck, so that it's not coming into the actual filter itself. Seems like we're almost completely out of this. I'm going to water it down just a little bit so we can get something out of it. Alright, here, so we'll just coat this thing pretty well with the cleaner. This stuff is really strong, so once you coat it, you may want to just kind of set it aside for 10 or 15 minutes while it soaks, so that you're not breathing those fumes in. Just get it really clean here. Probably should be wearing gloves when you do this, but don't have any close around, so we'll just go without it. Alright, so we'll come back here in just a minute once this is a chance to actually sit, and I'll show you how much will actually wash out of this. Alright guys, so we've let this sit for about 15 minutes now with the K&N cleaner on it. It's got a good chance to soak, and I'm going to show you what I mean by cleaning from the outside in versus the inside out. Or vice versa, actually. So I've got some hot water here, and instead of me washing over the top of it like this, I'm going to actually go from the inside and wash this way. What that's going to do is push anything that's stuck in the crevices outside of the filter, versus washing anything that's been on the outside through to the inside of it. And that's just going to keep everything as clean as possible for when you install it back on. Now once you've cleaned it, you know, pretty good from the inside to the outside, sometimes I'll actually switch it around and spray it from the outside and try to get as much as I can off. but that's just something to keep it as clean as possible. Now, this filter has a little cap on the inside that you can't really get to, so this one I will wash from this side to try and get all of it. You can kind of rub your hand along it to break up any of the loose stuff here, and then just keep rinsing until you feel that it's thoroughly clean and you can't feel any of the cleaner on it. If you guys have some type of attachment on your hose where you actually have, or on your sink where you have a hose, that would work really well too. This is just, what I've got here out in the garage. So now that I've got it pretty clean from the inside, I'll kind of run it over from the outside just to make sure we've got any loose stuff off pretty well. So once you've got it pretty clean, the next step is just to let it air dry. A lot of times you can kind of spin it around and get a lot of the water out. A lot of times I prefer to try and let this sit overnight so that it really gets dry, so when you spray your oil on it can soak into the fibers here. But we'll let this dry as much as it needs to. We'll come back and I'll show you how to oil this and then reinstall it back on the vehicle. Alright YouTube, so we've let this air filter dry once we've cleaned it. As you can tell, everything is very, very clean. So now what we're going to do is actually oil this, and what the oil that I usually use is actually the K&N air filter oil. It's for cotton filters. So what we're going to do is just put a light haze on this filter, spraying from a distance so that it is very even on the filter. And then I'll go around one full time right there. And then remember, this filter's also got the little insert here, so I usually do just a couple quick sprays in there. Once that's complete, I'll take a rag and actually wipe down all of the silicone edges so that there's not excess oil there that attracts a bunch of dirt and dust and all of that good stuff. And I'll do that also here on the end. And then once that's good and clean, we're good to go. Now remember, we also cleaned our pre-filter, so now that this is oiled, we're going to throw our pre-filter on here and pull it all the way down. There is going to be some oil that will transfer onto your pre-filter here, which is not a big deal. It'll just basically help to attract any of the dust or dirt that's in the air, or that's in the engine bay, I should say. So we get that pulled on here, and now it's ready to install back on the vehicle. I'll show you guys the installation back on the vehicle, although really any vehicle that you have is going to kind of differ on the installation, but on this one it's pretty simple. What I'll first do is grab the clamp here. This one just so happens to be installed with a flathead screwdriver, so we'll grab that here and come back over to the vehicle and install that. Now on this particular vehicle, there's not a shield. Some of your vehicles may have a shield in the corner, but this one actually just is a floating intake. So what we'll do is actually just throw it on here. Just like so, and then you can come here to tighten down your clamp. Make sure that you get this on good so that there's not any air gaps where dirt or dust or whatever it might be can get in here. So there you have it. The filter's on tight. Everything is good to go. You've cleaned your filter from start to finish. If you guys have any questions or anything, any questions I can answer, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful day.